喂，你今日飲咗未啊？
飲 orange juice？
青紅蘿蔔豬骨湯？
Coffee or tea or me？
飲橙汁？不如試下飲 Coffee Bubble Tea 啦。
Hi, everyone. Welcome and thanks for joining us today on the Coffee Bubble Tea Podcast. My name is Joyce and I'll be your host for today's session. And today I have with me Colin and Samson. And our topic today is happiness. So happiness is something I think most of us strive for, but what's our understanding of it? Is it something we comprehend, or is it something that's just more culturally taught to us? And I don't necessarily have much wisdom on this. So what I've done today is gathered some quotes from some people wiser than myself. And to make it fun, I've numbered them, and I will have Colin and Samson pick the numbers, and I'll read the quotes and we'll throw them up for discussion. So
How many do you have?
I have 8. We'll see how far we go. We don't have to get through all of them, but I curated this list because I thought they could be helpful for an understanding of happiness. How's that sound?
Yeah, too bad the audience can't see. She actually has a sheet with like 8 post-it and with written 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 on it. So it's actually like a game show.
Yes.
Pick which one you want.
Yeah.
All right. So who wants to go first?
I can go first.
All right. Pick a number, any number.
5.
5. Okay. So because you get to choose first, it also means you get first dibs on sharing your thoughts about this.
Darn it. Okay. Let's go.
All right. So here we have one by Marcel Proust. Let us be grateful to the people who make us happy. They are the charming gardeners to make our souls blossom.
Wow. You might have to repeat that just so.
Yeah.
No problem. Let us be grateful to the people who make us happy. They are the charming gardeners who make our souls blossom.
I think the first thought that comes to mind about that is just being, grateful for the people around you, the people like your family, your friends, that really it's harder to put into words sometimes, for me at least. But where I was going with it, I think, is like, being grateful to the people around you, like the friends and family members that have been in your life through the good and the bad. And they're the people that you can depend on. They're the people that will be there with you unconditionally to support you through life. And they'll also be like there to nurture and take care of you as if you were like a plant. So I know it's very like, the way I interpret it is very like, just very straightforward, I guess, without any sort of like other metaphors or anything like that to kind of describe it, I guess. But that I think in itself makes me pretty happy. And it sometimes we get lost in that thought, I think, with everything going on in life, that it's important to kind of just slow down a bit and really just cherish those people in our lives.
Mm-hmm.
你啱啱講呢啲，即係the people 咁樣咧，我就即刻諗起 what about the people that makes us miserable 咁樣可能即係
They're the people who come pull out the flowers.
可能 reflecting my state of mind. Anyway,
Oh, no.
我即係你一路講咧，我又即刻諗，可能咧即係冇咗咁多 miserableness 咧，咁
misery
哦係啊，thanks 好多謝你知道我想講咩啊，即係冇咗咁多 misery 咧 then it's 即係 more relaxed, more chill. I don't need a lot of ups and of course hopefully not so much down 咁樣。咁 you know 咁都真係 grateful 嘅。Yeah， 即係同一時間諗起一啲people who make my day and people who make my day crappy 咁。
Yeah. It's interesting because like I often wonder, is it other people's job to make me happy? And I think no, it's not their job. But I think there are people that, you know, when we're fortunate, there are people in our lives who do want us to be happy. Like I can think of my mom is like my number one person who wants to make sure I'm happy and I'm doing well. And yeah, am I often grateful enough for her to care about my happiness? Well, likely not. But yeah.
I think certainly there's a component to people that would kind of contribute to our happiness or our misery, I guess, depending on the situation. Certainly we don't ever want to face those kinds of struggles or difficulties with people who are just out there to make you feel crappy. But I think one thing that I've learned is that, like, in order to kind of really enjoy happiness, like, you almost have to feel like the other side too, in order to kind of feel the difference almost. Like, I don't know, like, I think we'll talk about this maybe some more, but I heard this saying where it was like, you can't really feel like really happy maybe if you don't feel like really miserable too, because then you won't know like what the differences are almost.
You're getting to one of the quotes.
Oh, okay. I got ahead of myself.
Maybe it's time to ask Samson to choose a number, and we'll see.
喂，頭先咧，等一等先。頭先咧，你話即係is it some people's job to make people happy 啦？我上個禮即係之前錄咗一集咧，喺度講緊一啲 role modeling 啦，咁樣，跟住講即係 fictional characters。跟住我啱啱我記得。我就 share 咗一個我以前睇好多嘅 Hong Kong sci-fi character， 跟住咧佢有一集係佢話即係我唔需要令到每一個人開心咁樣，咁樣跟住我記得我 high school 嘅時候睇呢啲書，跟住我有一次咁樣同我 parents 講啊，跟住 yeah 係啦，即係
wait, how did they respond?
I think they were a little shocked because, you know, I rarely 即係以前 high school 嘅時候，我唔會咁樣表達自己嘅。We don't really talk about what we want or need or how our feelings are。咁佢都唔知，即係 I think they were trying to get me to be pleasant to someone, some relatives or some family friend, and then I responded that way.
There you go, blowing it. Just kidding.
Yeah. 係啦。Now, well, 唔好講而家。好 ，choose 我哋等陣再講多啲。
I do want to add, I think there's a difference between the people who genuinely care about our happiness versus the people who are trying to please, just people pleasers, right? Definitely. Feeling like I have to make everybody happy. Like that's different. So, okay, Samson, pick a number.
To balance the visual, let's choose 4.
4.
Yeah.
Buddha says, happiness is a journey, not a destination.
It sounds overquoted. Yeah,
it might be.
我覺得好似喺即係嗰啲香港有樣嘢我哋叫做咩咧？嗰啲叫做長輩圖啊。Do you know what that means？ 係啦，即係長輩咧，即係好多時咧，我哋如果我哋 family 嗰啲 WhatsApp group 咧，跟住咧就會有個 uncle 啊、auntie 啊或者 grandpa， 跟住佢哋就 send 一幅圖出嚟 ，usually with a lotus。
Oh, yes.
On water,
I received those too.
And then a quote.
I don't know what it says.
Forward them to me next time. I haven't seen them.
We call those 長輩圖, and they usually quote these kinds of words.
Very generic, kind of overused quotes.
Yeah.
Well, despite all that.
Okay. Happiness is a journey. It's not a destination. Yeah. 係啦，即係 I guess some kinds of even I would even say some kind of happiness is overrated。係啦，即係 trying to get a certain kind of happiness， 即係我想開心啲，我想為啲咩做啲咩而令自己開心係咯，即係 doesn't work or trying too hard maybe 係啦，即係 not to mention 即係我之前讀書都有即係睇過啲書係真係講即係 if the more you try to be happy 即係 trying to be happy doesn't really work 係 just do your thing and you'll find happiness 係啦，即係我比較係咁諗嘅。
I'm going to quote you on that next time. Trying to be happy doesn't really work.
So don't try at all.
Yay!
No, I'm just kidding. Sorry.
繼續。Yeah.
Okay. I would agree with that quote. I think trying to put an end point to achieving happiness may not be such a good thing, because if you set such a high goal and you don't achieve that, then maybe that puts too much pressure on yourself, as opposed to maybe just, having this feeling that you want to have, but spread throughout your lifetime, because you're always going to have moments of happiness and also moments of sadness. So why put a single designation as to this is going to be my highest and greatest happiness? Like that will probably never happen, right?
Like winning the lottery.
Yeah. And then next time it might be something in your life that's even more happy. So, and if you can't achieve that, does that mean you're not going to ever be able to achieve happiness again? No, obviously. So maybe having such a goal like that isn't necessarily something that we should be striving for, I guess.
Yeah, I think what you're getting at is like we can't make happiness conditional. Like it can't depend on me achieving A in order to feel happy, or me like going somewhere or doing something, eating something, being with someone to be happy. That it can't rest on those conditions.
Yeah, it's a continuous cycle, I would say.
Great. Thanks, guys. Colin?
1.
I like this one. Mahatma Gandhi says, happiness is when what you think, what you say, and what you do are in harmony. And I can say that again. Mahatma Gandhi says, happiness is when what you think, what you say, and what you do are in harmony.
What you say, what you do, and
what you think.
What you think. So all of the combined leading to that feeling of happiness.
When they're in harmony.
Harmony.
Yeah, when they're in harmony.
That's an interesting one. So if all three are in harmony, then that is when we're in a state of happiness, I guess.
According to Gandhi.
Yeah. Will there be moments where if one of those things are not happening, and does that mean you're not happy then? I don't know.
So maybe you're thinking one thing, but you have to say another, or you feel pressured, you have to say another in order to please someone.
Okay.
Like those are, I think that's, talking about the, I think there's you need the freedom, the safety to be able to do and say and think.
Right. I think I get where you're going with trying to break it down some more. I think that one needs some more time to think for me in terms of
maybe. Yeah. Samson, what do you?
I was thinking, what about the external world? Like, 係啦，即係如果我係即係佢所講係我諗我思想我嘅行為同我嘅講嘅嘢係 in harmony， 就係 happy。即係呢個我都幾覺得係嘅。咁但係如果外界 好多I'm approaching this one more sort of more 即係
at a societal level.
Yeah, 係啦。同埋 this one it's not very personal to me. This doesn't sound it doesn't it's I guess it's not how I think about happiness. 所以我而家 analyzing it.
I think what you guys are bringing out. Okay, go ahead, Sensei.
即係 if someone can be that person, yeah, I guess this person would be happy. Not necessarily a good person.
Does it mean almost like they're true to themselves?
Yeah.
It's like you think, okay, I'm trying to break this down like with what he's saying. Like you're thinking about it and then you'll say it in the way that you think about it. And then you'll probably do your action in what you just said and thought. So then it's like, as long as you're kind of like doing all of this and they're working together in harmony, then like you're being true to yourself because you're not trying to sugarcoat something in order to, please someone, I guess. And that will mean happiness. But what if you thought about it and then you wanted to say that thing and then like you do that thing too, but it hurts other people? Does that mean that like, I guess for you would feel happy, but maybe for the other person, they might feel really bad because like, if you see somebody and you're thinking in your head, like, well, that person's really ugly. Like, are you going to tell them right off the bat that like, you're really ugly? You know what I mean? I don't think it's going to work like that, but that's just how I'm trying to like break this down in my brain as I think about what he's trying to say, I guess.
聽落咧有少少，即係小朋友咧就會咁樣啦，係啦，即係我肚餓，我開心唔開心，跟住我就會去揾嘢食，或者我會講出嚟啦。咁 but at a certain maturity level, it gets more complicated, and 係啦，it can be hurtful to someone, and then the result can cause yourself unhappiness 咁樣。係啦，所以even though I respect Muhammad Gandhi, sorry, I gotta say no. Even though I will watch the movie 4 hours straight and maybe shed a tear. Yeah.
Yeah. I think my perspective is that it's talking about the alignment, right? Like that you're not betraying a part of yourself. In order to please someone, that you're not having to mute yourself for fear of persecution, that there's this place and state where you are free and it's safe to express yourself and do particular actions. And yeah, to be, this word gets me sometimes, but to be authentic. Right. That those pieces come together.
Yeah. I think it's harder and harder nowadays with so much stuff. It's like being authentic might mean that you're being like prosecuted or like worse, like if there's like a lot of civility or like, hate or, that kind of stuff. And it, like how some of these people were really authentic. And then by doing so, they were basically being targeted. So I think in today's world, even more so with like social media, it's like you have to almost like watch yourself with whatever you're doing, whatever you're thinking or saying, because, it could lead to consequences, right?
Okay. Next, Samson.
8.
Eleanor Roosevelt says, happiness is not a goal. It's a byproduct of a life well lived.
即係佢純粹佢個 wording 啊 ，maybe 即係 byproduct 好似講到你差唔多死先咁樣，係啊。
Well, the life well lived, right? At what point are you making that judgment of having a life well lived?
Well, or 即係 if a day well spent 咁樣咯，係啦，即係 yeah, happiness is a day well spent 咁樣。If I put it in that kind of time frame,
yeah,
I think what if your life well spent wasn't necessarily that happy? Does that mean that the end of that is not a very happy byproduct?
But But what they're saying is, if you're unhappy like the inverse of this is, if you're unhappy at the end, maybe you didn't live your life well.
Oh, right.
Mm-hmm.
I guess then that kind of like what Samson was saying, like about your environment and all those sorts of things too, right? Like sometimes, you know, it may be really hard to kind of live your life really well, I guess.
Yeah, 都係個 environment 啊，some people they work hard and so on, they don't get recognition and they look back and they feel regret or they have second thoughts. 係啦，仲有都覺得係有第啲 factors 嘅，同埋 I guess 即係同頭先 Gandhi 講嗰個有少少似係，即係睇下你係咩 context 底下講呢句嘢，有少少。
It's true. All of these have been taken out of context. So yeah, we're just taking them at face value. Colin?
7.
Okay. This is from Dale Carnegie.
Oh,
it isn't what you have or who you are or where you are or what you are doing that makes you happy or unhappy. It is what you think about it.
Right. Okay. I would agree with that. Because what I've been learning, at least from, you know, going through therapy and all this stuff and how the mind works, is that like the mind is a very powerful living thing that's like always trying to tell us things, and it's up to us to basically determine whether or not, I guess, it's good or bad, or if it's happy or sad. And I guess those sorts of feelings that you get or emotions is, you know, based on like your values and everything that's going around you to make you feel like that. So yeah, I would agree with that statement.
我記得以前都聽過一類咁樣嘅講法嘅，咁樣我第一下咧，我即刻好覺得好唔 agree 嘅。咁因為嗱，但係咧，即係再睇落去咧，我又覺得係嘅，即係 I can't deny it. It's really in the mind. But 咁但係同時我覺得即係個 external world, if it's too different from how you perceive it, then it becomes sort of 即係咪你傻咗咧咁樣？即係if you're in denial， 咁當然即係 at a certain point, some people's denial can be all they know。咁係啦，即係我完全都唔理外界個真實情況，咁it becomes kind of sad。即係 if I'm in total denial 咁。好似咧，你問你哋揀咗幾個出嚟咧，我都幾 concern， 即係 the external so-called reality 咁樣，咁係啦，我覺得即係咁樣講落去係啦，即係我唔想係咁樣 happy 咯。It's not just something that's in my mind, I guess. Yeah.
I think that because this makes me think like there are like you could have this two different people in the same like context, and then sometimes you'll get like one person who's really happy and then the other person's not happy. And then I just think about like people who may be like, for example, not as well off, that sort of thing, and their context and their social environment isn't the greatest, but for some reason they're like the most joyous, like happy people you'll meet, right? More happy than you would probably think of if you were in that same situation. And it always makes you think like, how do they like just feel that way? It's like such a hard concept to grasp right immediately because we're so used to this way of living, for example. And maybe for them to have accepted that fact, not having as many things, or, you know, just being who they are, or where they are living, or what they have, they've kind of just like accepted that fact to be able to enjoy that. So in order to think like that, it really takes a lot of courage, I find.
係，即係你咁講咧，即係我又諗到 both sides， 即係 and we call that strength too, right? People who are able to persevere and find happiness. It's actually 講嘅時候，我覺得咦係喎，即係我其實係想咁嘅，即係我想我嘅 happiness 咧，即係it emanates from from my mind as well, from how I see the world. 跟住，但係同時間咧，我亦都聽到 sometimes we use this way to justify other people's 人哋好窮啊，人哋好慘咁。但係佢都生活得好開心喎，跟住就算啦。We don't do anything about it, we don't lend a helping hand. Yeah， 兩邊都係。
Yeah。
好，下一個由 Joyce 開始答。
Okay, but you guys choose a number for me.
Which one looks difficult, Colin?
Which one looks difficult? I can't. Number 6, I can see a little bit of it. It looks a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Let's do number 6.
Number 6.
Okay.
He already knows all of them, maybe.
Yeah, well, yes, I did put them together. Okay, so this one's by Jonathan Safran Foer. You cannot protect yourself from sadness without protecting yourself from happiness.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
That's what I mentioned earlier, I think. We were talking about.
Yeah.
Nice.
I think this one makes me think how joy and pain, happiness and sadness are like the two sides of the same coin. That like you can't have one without the other. Yeah, and I think I've gone through my fair share of sad things recently. And likewise, I think to be able to be honest in grief and to be honest in sadness allows me to fully enjoy the good things and the happy things when they come, right? Yeah, you can't protect yourself from sadness without protecting yourself from happiness. That like when we don't enter into the sadness and just kind of ignore it, brush it off, focus or like distract ourselves from it, it's kind of like cutting off an emotional limb, and we can't really access happiness or joy as well because we're just numb.
It makes me think because I think 即係我都幾 suppress at least 即係 for many years growing up 好多 sadness 我都唔點樣 acknowledge or I just sort of focus on handling the situation instead of handling the emotional response. 咁係咪即係 sort of 其實我嗰啲同時間嗰啲咁多年我係其實 not really feeling the happiness as well if it's the same antenna,
Yeah, like what do you think? Because
what are you feeling when you I mean, I'm just asking because like we're suppressing all the negative emotions. So like there will yeah.
係啦，即係 like the whole 即係好多人都係咁噶喎，即係we suppress 即係 not to mention Chinese people or Asian people 即係好多嗰啲嘢 suppress 咗咁，即係 I guess it's more complicated， 但係咪即係嗰啲即係嗰啲情況嗰啲人生階段同時間亦都係好多好開心嘅嘢，其實我哋感受唔到咧咁樣。
Like you cannot enter the depths of joy without having walked through the depths of sorrow.
I think it would be hard. Like you would be able to feel, obviously you don't want to be feeling like one or the other to that extreme, right? That's not healthy either, I don't think. So you don't want to be staying in that feeling for too long. It just makes me think like when, like, for example, if you're working for something you want and then you go through your trials and your trials of getting there, and you'll obviously have failures and setbacks and everything. And it would probably, have your very low moments. And then when you get to the top, you kind of reflect upon like all those things you had to do to get to that point. So then it just makes it so much more worthwhile, I guess. And as opposed to if you just kind of cruised through it and then you just got there. I guess maybe when you first start doing that, it might feel good, but then like, I guess that feeling of happiness compared to if you had gone through those low points, it would be a much different feeling. So then it would be like I don't know if I can say it's not true happiness, but it would be like a different kind of happiness, right?
Yeah.
Like if you gone through those things, you know how much work it took. So it just feels so much better maybe that you actually worked so hard to get to that point because you know how much effort it requires. And then that in that moment, you're able to like basically spend 5 minutes celebrating that happiness. Whereas you took like 20 years just of hardships just to get to that moment almost. I don't know.
你講到呢個即係 years of hardship or years of going through things， 令我諗起即係係啦。咁我以前細個唔係好識得去感受，即係冇即係好 ignore 嗰啲 sadness 嘅時候，咁嗰陣時我嗰啲嘅即係 quote unquote happiness 係咩嚟嘅咧？咁即係或者 what kind of happiness 係咪即係細個成日講笑，即係或者出去玩啊，笑到肚痛啊，笑到喊嗰啲，咁嗰啲係咩咧？咁到而家有咗即係 go through 過，真係覺得 the depth of sadness， 同時間咁嗰啲嘅即係而家所經歷到 feel 到嘅 depth of happiness 又係，咁我又真係 feel 到嘅，即係而家我有陣時有種我想用 contentment 呢個字啦，就好似即係以前唔係嗰種感覺，即係以前細個嘅時候唔會話I'm so content today. Your friends would be like, what the hell?
Your friends would probably be like, what are you doing? Like, are you on something?
係啦，所以 yeah， 可能真係大個咗。
That's true. Like it makes me think like happiness as a child is when you get a treat or you go somewhere special. Like there are things that actively make you happy. But I find that, it doesn't consistently bring the same level of happiness or joy. And as we mature, I think it is that quiet contentment that we see, that peace in our hearts, that capacity to rest in the moment and to be at peace with ourselves.
I like this quote.
Yeah, I like this quote. I like it too.
So, Samson and Colin, thank you so much for philosophizing with me today on happiness and just hearing your thoughts. Some are cynical, but some I think were genuinely kind and in trying to figure out what happiness is. And again, no real answers here, but I just hope to our listeners that as you walk along your day, that you would look out for things that can bring a little bit of happiness, a little bit of joy, and that you would experience that quiet contentment that allows you to feel peace in your hearts. And so, thanks again for joining us today. Visit us on Instagram, leave some feedback, ask some questions, any suggestions for future topics you'd want. Anything you have to add is really valuable. And so tune into our next podcast for some more good times. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.